Although I believe conception is unethical, it goes against my libertarian principles to go as far as to forcibly prevent someone from conceiving. Ultimately, if I expect others to respect my reproductive choices, I must respect theirs. Other than helping improve people's quality of life, patient autonomy is the other main principle that drives my practice of medicine. So I want to make it very clear that being an antinatalist does not mean I force that view on anyone. Ideally, though, I hope everyone, through their own exploration and processing, would arrive at the same conclusion. Pragmatically, this doesn't even necessarily mean they would not reproduce, but at the very least, they would not reproduce as much as they would have otherwise. If a person decides to have 2 rather than 3 children, that is still a tremendous win in the fight against needless suffering. I think there's an interesting parallel in the ethics of abortion. Although I believe abortion is ethically wrong, I also believe it should be legal and available to those who decide to pursue it. In my mind, the justification for keeping it legal is twofold. First, though wrong, unfortunately many times abortion is the least wrong of the choices available. Second, as long as we value autonomy in any real sense, abortion really is about personal autonomy over one's own body. And yes, as long as the fetus is not independently and readily viable, it is sufficiently part of the woman's body to fall under the umbrella of her personal autonomy. Having said this, I think it is safe to say most reasonable people would not classify abortion as a pleasurable experience. Avoiding the need to even contemplate abortion is probably the most desirable. To me, it's obvious that contraception is the surest way to prevent abortions. Not to get too sidetracked, but elaborating on a reason to think abortion is wrong can also help clarify my ethical stance on other antinatalism-related issues, so I'll explain. Abortion can be viewed as wrong from the responsibility perspective. That is, once conception is caused, those responsible have entered an unspoken contract of responsibility to their offspring. Similar to how parents are deemed responsible for taking care of their infant child. These responsibilities change depending on the stage of development, and the degree to which it is wrong to shirk those responsibilities also changes. Thus, although it may be wrong to intentionally deprive an embryo or early-stage fetus of its nutrition and protective environment, it is certainly much less wrong than doing the same to a sentient infant. It's ethically dishonest, not to mention impractical, to treat wrongfulness monolithically. And not all wrongs warrant limiting autonomy. Degree matters. Another reason why autonomy in general is important is its contribution to meaningfulness. Real or imagined, the ability to make a free choice can bring meaning to one's life. And since meaning can be a great tool to reduce suffering in an individual's existence, autonomy is extremely important to maintain. Of course, as a libertarian would say, I'm all in favor of others' autonomy as long as it doesn't infringe on mine, and vice versa. In my medical practice, watching a patient decide to continue smoking or eat excess junk food or live a sedentary lifestyle is like watching someone sit on the train tracks while a train approaches in slow motion. I know that chances are he will be hit with some kind of major detriment to his health. But as long as he is capable of making his own decisions, my job is simply to inform him of the coming train and of how to move away from the train tracks. Ultimately, though, it's up to him to decide to move. Every decision we make in life involves a risk, so we all have to determine which risks are worth which benefits. And respecting autonomy necessarily means respecting decisions that may result in harm to the one deciding. Reproduction is a special case, since the decision results in harm to a non-consenting party. But that party does not exist until the decision is translated into action. Before this, all the elements in the equation fall under the autonomy of the decision maker. So as long as we maintain a reasonably free society, the decision to reproduce should rest on the currently existing individuals involved. This is both ethically necessary and ethically tragic. And it's why wider acceptance of antinatalism through reasoned discussion is so important. Thanks for listening.